Hopefully it's going live. And we're live. Hi everyone. If you're here in the comments, welcome back to Alice in the Giant Bookshelf. Welcome back to the Women's Prize Plodalong. And we've got Charlie over there. Or over there. Can't find the right way today. And Gemma should be along shortly, hopefully. And we have got a very special guest today. We're very, very excited. We've got Lauren from Lauren and the Books.
Woo! I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So, yeah.
Welcome, Lauren.
Welcome to Lauren. So I think everyone in the comments is going to be very, very excited and probably having questions for Lauren. We have got some in the chat already. We've got Charlie. Your other Charlie.
I know. I was waving to Charlie because.
Yeah. And Jennifer's in. Hi, Jennifer. And Natasha's in today. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Natasha.
And Jennifer again.
Yeah.
And we've got Kit. Hi, Kit. And Kate. Hi, Kate. And have I done Kate? Maybe not. A bit on the go slow. And we've got Emily as well. And yeah, say hi if you're in. Let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you want to chat to Lauren about, Women's Prize related. So how are you, Lauren?
I'm good, thanks. I was excited to be here. I was saying before we came live, I've very on brandly just come on my period, so that's why I'm in my pajamas, slumped on the sofa. But the energy's still there, guys. Don't worry. I've taken painkillers. I'm feeling all right. I'm looking forward to it. I said I've been catching up on some of your live streams that you've been doing, and I was having a lovely time reading along with your reading sprints yesterday. So excited to be here. Excited to be doing like a live thing where I'm not frantically trying to read all the comments out and trying to get everything. So it's nice to be a guest here. I'm very much pleased to be here.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Charlie, you all right today?
Yeah, good.
Good. Say hi to a few more people. We've got Dorota in again. Hi, Dorota.
Hey, Dorota.
And she loves Lauren. And we've got Ariane and Zach is back again. Hi, Zach. And we've got Sarah. Sarah was our first guest.
Yes, I saw. Yeah.
And I did all of the things as a test run, so well done.
A bit of a guinea pig, but she was lovely and she took it all well.
And Sarah says she is indeed very excited to have the Queen of Women's Prize, Lauren.
The Queen! I don't know if
there you go. You've just been dubbed the Queen, Lauren. This is why we are so excited. We've got Sophie in as well, and we've got Norvaner. Hello. We've got Imogen. Hi, Imogen. We've got Annika,
Annika was helping me do my walk-in yesterday. Annika, when I was on the live show yesterday, she was keeping me entertained as I was getting up my steps. We might still be doing it tonight, Annika. We're on 7,000 and something. So yeah, but thank you.
This was one of my first questions for Lauren. I was like, I must know, how are the steps going? I've been following it, so
I'm absolutely determined to get 10,000 a day for this sort of five section. And yeah, I've been walking up and down my corridor as it sort of gets late into the evening, thinking I can't not get 10,000. I should have been doing that from the beginning rather than as we approach the halfway mark, but going all right. I've had a spurt of life in me, and I'm excited to get those 10,000 steps every day.
Well, we don't want to let it down today, so it might be a literal plod later on for Lauren.
That'll be a first. We've not had that before. After the next plod, you can set us up.
So we've got Ben saying, hey pals. Hi, Ben. And Annika says she's ready to help Lauren.
Oh, lovely.
They're walking.
That's so sweet.
And Natasha is sat in bed drinking chocolate milkshake. I like your style there. I'm reading This Is Not a Pity memoir at the moment. Looking forward to reading a few of the Women's Prize books. So yeah, let's get on to the Women's Prize, shall we? As we are here for that. And Lauren, I think you'll have quite a lot to say to us on this, but what have you read so far?
So I've read. So if we're talking long list or short list, we'll start with short list. That's a bit more achievable. I've read everything on the short list. I DNF'd Pod, which I know is. I DNF'd that after about 20 pages. I didn't get on with it at all. And I'm yet to read Black Butterflies. And I was thinking about picking Black Butterflies up tonight to read with you guys. But I've just picked something up from the library. I'll do it. I'll show you it later. Which has got a 2-week fastback loan, so I need to read that as well. But I'm excited to read Black Butterflies. I know that seems to be quite popular, so looking forward to that. When it comes to the long list, I didn't get round to Children of Paradise, and I didn't get round to Ruby. I think of Ruby. No, the one by Novila.
Rory. Oh, you're not missing out there. You're not missing out there.
Okay. I got it out from the library, and then when I was reading the back, it said satire, and I was like, I am not a satire girl. This is not for me. So I didn't even get round to picking it up. So I feel pretty pleased with it. I've done like the best I've done in a good long time at getting those out. I think maybe I will go back to Children of Paradise at some point. But yeah, my concentration now is on reading Black Butterflies. But because the actual winner doesn't get announced until June, I have got a bit more time to maybe pick up Black Butterflies. But
yeah, there's no rush.
No, so I feel pretty pleased with how I've got on with it all. So just the one on the short list I've got to read, and
that's a good one though. It's good. That's a good one to head. I feel like I enjoyed that one, so hopefully you will.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's been a bit of a sort of like a quieter one on the list. I didn't know all that much about it when it was on there, and then the more people that have read it, the more sort of like hype and fun there is around it. Although I don't know how fun the actual book is. It doesn't tell me it's fun themes, but yeah, the more I've sort of heard about it, and I feel like
it's not a bad last one to get to. So I don't think
good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
I'm in the same place as you. It's the only one that I haven't read now from the short list. I've got 2 left from the long list, which I have actually got out of the library. But Black Butterflies is like the last one I'm waiting for the library to get, because I've been trying to read everything from the library.
Weirdly, when the long list came out, I couldn't get hold of Black Butterflies anywhere. It was sold out on Waterstones. I was like a few of the bookshop.org. I couldn't get it on there. And then the publisher contacted me and said, "Oh, do you want a copy of it?" And I was like, "Yes." I've been trying to buy this book, and now I just see it everywhere. So I don't know if there was like a supply issue or something.
Is it a smaller publisher as well? Because that's what I was. Is that what we've heard? Is it? I don't know.
I'll get it. We can have a look.
It definitely seems to have been,
you can tell us.
Like the consensus seems to have been that it's been the most difficult to get hold of.
Yeah. It
has my library has now got it, I think, but it's in processing whatever they do to it.
Duckworth, who I haven't heard of before. I don't know.
Which one did you say?
Duckworth. Which is I don't know if they're an imprint of something, but I haven't heard of Duckworth before. No, it just says Duckworth, imprint of Duckworth Books. Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's been harder to get hold of a smaller publisher.
Ooh,
I wonder if they might have initially had quite a small print run or something, and then had to frantically print some more.
Well, this one's got the actual sticker sort of like on it as well, so they must have known that was. Looking forward to it, but probably we'll get around to it sort of end of May, beginning of June.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to get it from the library before the winner is announced, basically.
Yeah.
And Charlie, you finished the list, haven't you?
Yeah, I only DNF'd 2. I just DNF'd Pod and Stoneblind, just because Stoneblind, it wasn't anything wrong with it. It's just because I just wasn't in the mood for it, and Pod because I just couldn't connect the writing.
No. Same. And Stoneblind, I listened to the audio of it, and I think it's just mythical retellings are just not my bag. And after I sort of finished that, I was like, stop forcing yourself through them, Lauren. You're not enjoying them.
I feel like you have to be in the mood for them, don't you? As well.
So many characters in it as well. I was like, who are all these people? This goes beyond my realms of Hercules, the Disney movie, and what I'm aware of in terms of mythology. So yeah, there was a lot in there, but I didn't get all that much from it. But it was quite short, so I think I was sort of like ticking things off at the time. So I was like, I've read that now. So great.
I did the audiobook of that as well. When you started listening to it, were you like, how many characters? Because she reads out the whole list of characters, doesn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I'm never going to remember all of that.
I remember when I started reading Wolf Hall, and that was like 3 pages worth of characters before it even started. Like, how am I supposed to know that? But I do find it helpful when you've got that in a print book to refer back to it. But I don't know how helpful it is when you're listening to an audiobook.
No, I was just like, I'm not going to remember all of this. This is not.
Yeah,
for
me,
I did
it was
think
one of the last ones on the list I got to, so that's why I was just like I'd run out of energy for the prize.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I can't do it.
They're not all going to be bangers for everyone, are they? That's the good thing about it. So that's why it's so fun to hear people who are like really championing some and not others. Like, not everyone's going to love everyone. So
I think we've got a lot of love for Black Butterflies in the chat. A lot of encouragement for us to read it. So Black Butterflies is really great, says Ben. A quick read, but packs a punch. Like the sound of that. And Sarah has watched Natalie Merry, is it? Merry today, and in her vlog, she absolutely loved Pod. So there are some fans out there. Loved Black Butterflies, DNF'd Cursed Bread this week. As Charlie said, it was boring bread.
I didn't mind. I called it boring bread then. I didn't mind Cursed Bread, but I just said boring bread when I didn't mind it. But yeah, I think also if that had been towards my end of reading, the longest, maybe I would have been like, but it was short, and I was like, lovely, got it out from the library. There it is, waiting for me. And yeah, I didn't mind it at the time.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, but I'm not I'm not effervescent about it. I just thought, yeah, I didn't mind it.
It was fine.
Well, I think
yeah. Kit says Black Butterflies is a good one as well. Ange is in. Hi, Ange. And Natasha says, looking forward to hearing opinions on I'm a Fan. Yeah, we were very surprised not to see I'm a Fan on the shortlist, I feel like.
I'm very surprised and also disappointed to not see it on there, because we read it for my book club and it was so divisive. Like, some people loved it, some people hated it. There wasn't much sort of indifference towards it, but the chat we had was amazing, which is always the way when you have people who either really love a book or really dislike a book. But yeah, it was brilliant. And I really loved that book. That started, I mean, this is sort of leaping into your next question territory, but yeah, when I finished it, I was like 4 stars, thought it was great. But every time I think about it, I think about another layer of like how clever I found it, or like, the process of it. The process of reading it was like social media, and like being able to create that in a book was just fantastic. So yeah, it's gone up to a 4.5 for me already. It's 4.5, yeah. I really loved it. I mean, it wasn't a sort of comfortable read, was it? It's pretty grotty when you're reading it. I think someone in our chats described it as grubby, and you do feel a bit grubby when you're reading it, don't you?
Definitely.
Yeah, I loved it. It's setting me down a bit of a pathway of sort of like books about fandom. So I've just finished reading Idol Burning by Rinyusami, which is translated from the Japanese, about a girl who's obsessed with a boy band and a particular member of a boy band, and she calls him her Oshi, which means her idol. And she's really like invested in his life, and then he ends up hitting a fan, and because she's online and she's got all these like takes on what he like all his behavior, people are like sort of like coming to her for an expert opinion. But yeah, there's another one called YN, which I think is similar, which I can't remember who that's by. But yeah, I feel like I'm really into that sort of like fiction about fandoms and stuff. It's such an interesting sort of hole to fall down, I think. I really enjoyed it. But how did you both find I'm a Fan?
Yeah, I just think it was a fascinating book. Like, so as you said, those bits that are absolutely grubby, and I there was definitely parts that I found really uncomfortable to read. There's probably a bit more like sex and things like that in it than I'm particularly interested in. Like the way she was talking about some things were not particularly for me. But then other bits, I just thought, like her commentary on, like particularly social media, obviously, but also other social commentary on like life in general and obsession and I found that part so interesting.
I know, and what was worrying was that like some of it is so wild and like, oh my god, why is she thinking those things? And then she'll say something that literally like I was like, oh my god, I think that too.
Yeah,
it was so like I was
on the nose.
Like I completely agree with what you're saying, to being like, oh no, why are you saying that? Like it was really confronting. It really made me feel things, and like it's something I'll remember for a really long time. Like it was I really loved it, and I'm so disappointed it didn't make it to the shortlist.
I think that's the one that, like, apart from like the Demon Copperhead, I think that's the one we sort of universally And I think loads of other people universally sort of thought
We
it was
just
going to be.
expected to see it there, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah, it was
up to the minute commentary on life.
If you enjoy the book, you probably realise that it was like very current and very, like you say, great commentary on life at the moment. So it's deserving of a place in that way, isn't it? So yeah, disappointed not to see that.
Yeah, I love what you said about it being uncomfortable, because sometimes it was uncomfortable to read because you didn't like what you were reading, but other times it was uncomfortable to read because it was almost like it was calling you out on something you feel so familiar. You're like, oh, I do that on social media.
You definitely felt like she was in control of it though the whole time. It didn't feel like you knew that she knew, like the author, because like sometimes when you read a book, obviously that it just feels like you don't know where she's going with it. But no, you knew that. But oh my god, yeah, definitely. I felt polarized the whole time when I was reading. I was like, oh, I love it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I love it. I hate it.
It was expertly done. It was fantastic.
So clever.
I think in generations that will be a sort of like modern classic. I can't see it not being. It so perfectly encapsulates everything that sort of is happening with social media. Yeah.
And is she like a screenwriter or something as well? I think, or like a theatre, something to do with.
Oh really? Yeah. Oh great! God, imagine that being adapted.
Very clever book.
That would be amazing.
To go around.
Yeah. So, do we take it that is your recent favourite by a woman, Lauren?
Well, so I mean, I've two answers really, because so like I said, that was so you asked it what's your recent 5-star read. So that wasn't my most recent 5-star read, because as I said, I gave it 4 stars. It's crept up to a 4.5 star. But sometimes those books feel even more special. So the books that you don't automatically give 5 stars, you think, oh yeah, that's great, it's a 4-star, and then it creeps its way up. But previous to that, I went back through my reading journal, which is in this embroidered notebook. And it was The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, which is one we haven't mentioned here, but I absolutely loved it. I don't think it will win, but I really, really loved it. And it was so, I loved the sort of like here and now narrative of it, and like sort of marching inevitably towards this character, your main character, who I'd really grown to love, and her death. And thinking like all of these, like what she was having to put up with, and then hearing about her upbringing and how her father had educated her like a boy, and how that had made her who she was then, and then flipping back to now, and as in the more recent history rather than, and I just think Maggie O'Farrell writes so beautifully. And I was thinking back to Hamnet and how I sort of like enjoyed Hamnet but didn't love it, but this I was like, just couldn't stop reading it. I just loved it so much. So yeah, that was a definite 5-star. I finished it and I was like, perfection. But yeah, I think I'm a Fan is definitely one that will stay with me more. And like I said, it's creeping up there to a 5.
I love it when books build. I love that feeling.
Yeah. I also
if you think about a book afterwards, it's really a great book, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love like what the Maggie O'Farrell book did, sort of like knowing something before the main characters in it know that as well. Like that's a real like, even though it's a horrible thing, like we knew she was going to die, we knew it from the first page, and like marching towards that and just being like, oh god, it's on its way. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. So that was my most recent 5-star.
Excellent. So linked to that, Brandy has actually asked us, what is each of your favourite from the list? So yeah, is that your favourite from the list, Lauren?
The Marriage Portrait's my favourite from the list. When I filmed my video about talking about the books, I said that The Marriage Portrait was the only one I loved. But like I said, I've just gone on forever about I'm a Fan. So that's definitely up there. And I think if anything, like I said, I think that will stay with me longer. So I'll take those two, please, as my favourites.
Thank you. And Charlie, what was your favourite from the list?
I think I'm going to say Trespasses, actually, because even though I love it, there's two like elements to it, because I do love Demon Copperhead, and I think Demon Copperhead is a more well written book. But I just loved Trespasses so much, and it surprised me because I'd already started it and not DNF'd it, but kind of like it was the first book I tried from the long list, that apart from the ones I already read beforehand. And I sort of put it down. I was thinking, oh my God, this is so dull. I just can't get on with it. And I picked it up again, and I just had a completely different experience with it. So I think, and I loved the characters. Like I even like I know they're not, obviously Kushla wasn't perfect, but yeah, it surprised me. So yeah, that's my favourite.
That's unusual that you say that about like almost DNFing it and coming back to it, because I had that exact same experience with The Marriage Portrait. I tried reading The Marriage Portrait last October and was just like, yawn, and then picked it up this time round thinking the same and absolutely bloody loved it. I've just bought it for my sister for her birthday. I was like, read it. It's so good. But something I loved about Trespasses as well, because Trespasses was a 4-star for me as well. There was a quote on the front of the book which said like making the ordinary feel extraordinary, or something along those lines, and I thought that is exactly it. Like we've got a slice of life here, and what is very ordinary to these people is just reading. It's like bouncing off the page of how special it feels. And I read it in a day, and it was like for me to do that. I don't often do that, so it was very I really loved it. I'm glad you.
Good.
My friend Charlie read it in a day as well. Charlie read it in a day.
Not super short either, is it? It's like 300 pages. So short, but not super short. Yeah, my favourite still Demon Copperhead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How long did it take you to read Demon Copperhead? Because it's a big old chunky one, isn't it?
I think a little while since I read it. Charlie, you read it like before it was announced, didn't you?
Oh, did you?
Whereas I read it wasn't like the first few that I got to, but then I had it from the library, and I was on a deadline with it, so I did read it pretty quickly actually.
I had the audio book out, and I only I had it on Libby on the audio book, and I only had it for 21 days. And I was like, I don't want to speed this up so that I've got poor old Demon. I had the book out from the library as well, so I ended up reading the last like 6 chapters, which was quite nice because I've been listening to the audiobook. I then had Demon's voice in my head.
Yeah.
You didn't love it, guys. I know.
No, don't worry, we won't kick you out.
I do think it's going to win. I'm certain it's going to win. But yeah, I didn't love it. Had you read David Copperfield beforehand, out of interest?
Yes.
And what are the links like?
I think each of the characters, not every single character, but there's characters in there who you sort of know who they are, and she's been quite clever with the names of the characters.
Yeah.
So if you have read Dickens, you can kind of be like, oh, that's so and so. Although I'd read David Copperfield a long enough time ago that I felt like it was all a bit hazy. So I was like, oh, that's happening.
Happens, that makes it feel special to you as well, doesn't it? Because you've got like a little link, like little Easter eggs, which is a lovely feeling. So
what's been really interesting is that Charlie and I we've both read both, haven't we? And loved both. But Gemma doesn't like Dickens at all, hasn't read it, and absolutely loves Demon as well. So it's interesting how it appeals to both. Did
you not find it a bit relentlessly miserable by the end, though? Like, how many bad things could this poor go through?
You feel for him, bless him.
It was. But I also think that if you've read Dickens, you've kind of prepared for that.
Yeah.
Because David Copperfield is a bit relentless in the things that happen to him.
True.
And I think it is quite an autobiographical book for Dickens, isn't it? Yeah. It's one of his.
When I read Demon Copperhead, I was thinking, I don't know anything about David Copperfield. I don't know anything about it. And then I remembered that I watched the recent film, which had Dev Patel in it, and really loved that film. Like, loved watching it. So I'm interested to revisit that film now, having read Demon Copperhead, and seeing if I can make any links to the book.
I think there are some differences from that movie to the book, though. But it doesn't really matter, though. But it still would give you like an idea, though. So.
Yeah, because I read the book and tried to finish it before I went to see the film in the cinema. That film, and I didn't quite make it. I think I had like 3 chapters left before I went to the cinema, so slightly spoiled myself, but never mind. So let's see a few more comments. We've got Imogen says read Black Butterflies over the long weekend and couldn't put it down. Loved it.
Oh, good.
So more praise for that. That's good. Jane says, sorry I'm a bit late, packing for a work trip, but glad you can keep me company. Hi, Jane. And Kate says, you haven't missed much with Children of Paradise.
Oh, right. Oh, well, that's interesting. I got it out from the library, so I didn't own it, but I have sent it back. But I didn't know if it was a bit sort of film related. I got that vibe from the blurb, and I wondered if it would be. But if I haven't missed much, maybe I haven't missed much.
You might like it though, because like I feel obviously because like we saw obviously that Jen loved it as well, so you might love it. Like it's to me it was kind of middle ground. It was I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Charlie Heathcote's given up on myth retellings after Xena Warrior Princess. I think this is a Wolf Hall comment. Ben says 3 pages of characters and they're all called Thomas.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can definitely remember that about Wolf Hall. Listen to the audio of Stone Blind. So I took a screenshot of the character list. That was sensible.
Great life hack there.
I should have done that, Sarah.
That's a great idea.
Cat Dancer's Kaleidoscope of Books and Stuff is laughing at Ben, saying that they're all called Thomas.
I love that channel name.
That was so much fun. About I'm a Fan, I think that is.
Yeah, I think it was a fan chat. Yeah, it was, yeah.
And Justice for I'm a Fan. Yeah, Ben really wanted to see that on the shortlist as well. And Jennifer did too.
I think that's one of Jennifer's favourite books of the whole year, actually, I think.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just thinking of why, Sasha, when it comes to books about toxic fandom, I think the author is Esther Yee.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if my library's got it. If not, I might treat myself to it. I don't know if it. Yeah. I do want to read it a lot. I've seemed to have fallen down a fandom. I keep wanting to say fan fiction, but I don't mean fan fiction because that's a different thing completely.
No, you know what you mean.
Fandom fiction hole.
Yeah. Fiction about fan fiction would be a very odd thing. I haven't encountered any books about that yet. Sarah loved the little tangents in I'm a Fan about racism, for example. They were my best bits. I thought they were fantastic. But the characters were also detestable. No character growth. 2 stars.
Oh, 2 stars. Interesting.
Yeah. But all the characters were unlikable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like horrible. And like you say, like it made you feel horrible when you were reading it. I remember being shocked that the main narrator had like what was seemingly a very stable and loving relationship and was also very close with her mother and being like, how is this? Like you just don't know, do you? Like and had these awful toxic relationships and then seemingly was in these really stable relationships elsewhere. So blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
We're going to be chomping at the bit to see what she brings out next, aren't we?
I know.
Kit says that they want to read This Is Not a Book About Benedict Cumberbatch, which is a non-fiction about fandom and womanhood and enjoying things you love without.
I'm writing that down because that sounds amazing.
I've not heard about that one.
You've got your pen ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've always for a book recommendation. Thank you, Kit. I'm writing that down now. And Sarah's favourite so far is 100% Memphis. Oh, nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed Memphis as well. I was sad not to see that on the short list, but I did wonder if I was reaching a bit, thinking it might be on there. I felt like it was very quietly celebrated, wasn't it? I didn't hear all that much about it, but I very much enjoyed it. I sort of like a multi-generational family epic, and whilst it wasn't without its really hard-hitting topics, there's been a lot of sort of like trigger warnings throughout the long list, hasn't there, for domestic violence and in particular in this book. But yeah, I found it really light and warm in places, even though it had really like awful parts of it.
I loved it when I read it, but I was just kind of like I feel like I've forgotten loads of it because it's like more than a year ago, and so because of me forgetting it, I feel like it had to go down my list.
You'd read it quite a while ago,
that's understandable. Yeah, I understand that. That's
it's one of the 2 that I've got left from the long list. So I've got Homesick and Memphis. Got them both out of the library at the moment. Hoping to get them both.
Oh, what did you give it? Sorry.
1 star.
Is that your least favourite from the list, apart from the DNFs?
Yeah, I think so. I listened to the audiobook. I just felt a bit like nothing was connecting to me. And even though it was short and sort of like trying to be a bit more concise, I felt like if I let my brain wander for a bit, I'd be like, God, where are we? Like I really lost my place with it a few times and couldn't connect with it at all. So yeah, that was at least.
I'm really interested to know how I get on with it. I think because it's so short, I definitely still want to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've got that whole, like, the finish line is in sight. I must complete the whole long list now. I'm so competitive with myself.
Oh,
So,
it's a nice feeling to have done it as well.
I probably will never do it again.
She says, "Yeah, you wait till next year."
She will. She's
Well,
back her in.
no. I'm going to try and be more selective next year.
Right. Okay.
To be fair, you have to allow yourself to DNF them. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been very strict on not DNFing them so far this year, but I've still got 3 left, so there still could be a DNF in there. Ben says, Demon is chunky, but I'm finding it moves along at such a great pace. I read it really fast. The chapters aren't very long and the writing is so conversational, you fly through it. I think, yes, I think a lot of people are saying the content is very heavy, which obviously it is incredibly heavy. But I loved it. Do we still think it will win after it won the Pulitzer? We were wondering if we were going to talk about this, weren't we?
Yeah, we said this before, didn't we?
Like, my personal feeling on it is that I really, really hope that prizes are all impartial enough that they pick the best book from their prize, the one that they like the most. But you don't know with prizes, do you? What do you think?
Well, I was trying to remember, and I mean, people may well know and correct me or tell me if I'm right, but I think Milkman by Anna Burns won the Women's Prize and the Booker the same year. And I also think Girl, Woman, Other did something similar with the Women's Prize and maybe the Costa. So it does happen.
Booker.
I can't imagine it not winning. I'd be really shocked if Demon.
I really, really hope it still wins.
Really, really surprised.
And it could do the triple, as we were saying. It could do the triple. It could do the Booker, the Women's Prize, and the Pulitzer.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen.
And if it does, Alice will do a happy dance. So will Gem, I think.
There would definitely be happy dance going on. Natasha has bought Memphis on Kindle and looking forward to it.
That's good.
And Ben thinks that Demon winning the Pulitzer has really thrown the door open to another book winning the Women's Prize. I'm expecting Fire Rush or Trespasses. Interesting. You just don't know, do you?
Fire Rush has been a really forgettable one for me. I read it at the beginning of March and I was listening to it on audio. It was when David Stabb was unwell and in hospital, and I was sort of like listening to it on the drive down there. And I don't know if I've got a bit of a trauma block of what was going on at that point. But yeah, so I really found it hard to sort of like recall what had happened there. But I remember being I was very surprised that it was on the shortlist because for me it sort of fell into like the more quieter book category, like sort of Memphis, where I was sort of like hoping it would be on there, but was it going to be on there? Wandering Souls, hoping it would be on there, but realistically, would it be on there? And I sort of put Fire Rush in there with that, so that was a surprise to me that was on there. What about you guys? What did you think?
I think for me, it was the first book that I read from the list. I audiobooked it.
Oh, the audiobook also. It's a weird situation to be in because I loved the performance and I remember sort of like the singing and the music and all of that, but the actual meat of the novel, I'm a bit like, what happened?
We didn't feel like, I think I remember Jem saying we felt like it was like 3 different books because it's all the different parts. We felt like certain individual parts were stronger than others and it just didn't mesh together very well. That's like it just, and sometimes it felt like she was trying to cram too much in,
I feel like I've been the one of us most in favour of Fire Rush,
Yeah.
but I was really, really taken with the audiobook. It's one of those audiobooks that is just such a great performance that you're like, the audiobook is even better than maybe the book itself.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's a really interesting book, and when they put it on the shortlist, I'm thinking that the thing it does that none of the others that I've read so far does is it plays with language quite a bit.
Yeah.
You've got that sort of Jamaican slang and London slang, and it's just told with a very different voice to all of the other books. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a language thing going on there where it's doing something different that I don't think the other books have really done this year.
Okay, yeah, maybe I didn't pick up on that because of the time I was listening to it. I remember thinking there was a lot in there about sort of searching, like there's a lot of like searching for family and searching for your own identity and searching for justice. And sometimes I feel like I was sort of like searching for something to grab hold of in the book, like nothing was like getting me.
I just feel like it just felt like she was throwing so many things at it at times, because obviously, like, you had the beginning of the riots, and then the thing with her boyfriend, and then the thing about her mom, and then it's like, and then it's just like so many things, and then the search. It was just like, I was just like, for me, I was just like, what, like, and it was all coming at me, and I was just like, what,
overwhelmed a bit.
But I did the first part. I really enjoyed the very first part. I thought was really, really, like, almost like 5 stars for me.
My fondness is definitely mostly for part 1. Like part 1, I was like, oh, this is going to be a 5-star book, especially with the audiobook, loving that as much as I was loving it at the time. And then once it got into part 2 and they'd gone to Bristol, I was a bit like, oh no, I'm not sure. So bit of a mix.
The girl who did the audiobook is from called The Midwife.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of crazy fandoms, the audiobook is, she's an actress in called The Midwife, and so I was already invested going into the audiobook thinking, yes, more Called The Midwife content. So
I thought she did a brilliant job of the audiobook.
So good. It was so good. The audio was really good.
So Charlie thinks he preferred Kingsolver's earlier book, The Lacuna, to Demon Copperhead. I think that since it won the Pulitzer, it would be nice to see something else win the Women's Prize, i.e. Trespasses. A lot of love for Trespasses. I've finished it this week and I didn't really like it.
Oh, really?
I feel really bad saying it because I know you both loved it, but
like I said,
I didn't connect with Kushla at all.
No.
That's fair enough, though.
I was quite bored.
To be like that, I think that's an understandable feeling to feel, though, because it is just an interior look at someone's quite quiet life. Like, I know it was going on, like the troubles going on in the background, which is a huge thing, but like otherwise her life itself, the nitty-gritty of that, and her having a sort of like half-assed affair and teaching job, and although there was like aspects of that where you're like, there wasn't much sort of massive feelings in there to get behind, was there? Like,
no.
So I do understand someone feeling bored, but I love that sort of like ordinary stuff.
I quite often do. I quite like a book where not that much is happening and maybe there's like bigger things in the background like there was with this. And I really wanted to love it, but I didn't connect really with anybody in it, sadly.
I remember, do you remember Unsettled Ground by Claire Fuller, which was a few years ago? That was one of my faves from that year. And that reminded me a lot about that, because that sort of like slice of life of her like life living with her mother who then dies and being in this small sort of rural town and the poverty associated with that, and everything was very normal to her but us looking in on it. And I felt like that reading it felt similar to me, the vibes.
I hadn't connected that, but I love that book as well. So I told you, Harry. Everyone's going to say hi to Harry in the comments. I know they will.
Hi, Harry. You've missed Minnie. She's gone now.
Gone, yes.
She's gone.
She's having a tea.
So
did you know about her new books coming out, don't you, as well? Claire Fuller's got a new one out.
Oh, I'm excited about that one. I haven't actually read it.
Oh my god.
That's what I'm going to read tonight.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about that, because I haven't actually read Unsettled Ground yet, but I really love the sound of that.
That was a great year for the Women's Prize. That Detransition Baby, Piranesi, great year. Absolutely great year.
I agree with you. I loved all of the shortlists that year.
Good to hear. Jack's just popping in to say hi. She's on the road at the moment, sad to be missing this. And has said, I suspect Demon winning the Pulitzer, has put paid to it winning as well, Kit and Ben. Though Alice and Gemma were highly upset when I suggested it. We were highly upset.
We are. It's not going to happen. We've got to think positive. We're going to manifest Demon winning the Women's Prize for you. We've got,
I think before we go to the rest of the comments, we better actually ask Lauren some of our regular questions.
Oh yes, our regular questions. Sorry,
because we haven't got to them yet.
No.
We're having such fun chatting. So, Lauren, the most important question that everyone in the comments is waiting for you to answer is, what is your favourite pizza topping? We're sorry.
And we will judge you, whatever you say.
Pizza. I love pizza, and David makes some amazing pizzas. If I'm being honest, I think it's just a standard margherita, because if you can get that right, you've nailed it. But my favourite thing in the world is mushrooms. So I'll have a mushroom on there as well, whatever. But yeah, I think we'll go margarita, but I wouldn't mind sneaking some mushrooms on there.
That's okay.
Sounds great.
I mean,
that's a good answer, actually.
I think a margarita is a strong answer.
This is a strong answer, yeah.
Jem will probably kick off about just the mushrooms alone, but you know, if she was here, we've got to get our little Jem in the corner. But yeah, at least you haven't said figs and you haven't said pineapple, so you can stay.
No. I wouldn't have. Do you know what? I wouldn't say no to a fig on a pineapple. A fig on a pineapple. I would say no to that. I wouldn't say no to a fig on a pizza because I have had some like pretty fancy pizzas from different like fancy pizza places, but I just don't think you can beat a margarita.
I actually do want to try fig on a pizza now after all the chat about fig.
Yeah.
Every single week we have. Yeah.
While we're on the pizza subject, though, can I just tell you a little life hack about how if you want to make a vegetarian cheeseburger pizza from Domino's? Because I've nailed it. So if you have to create your own from Domino's, I used to hate Domino's. It used to make me feel gross. Like I remember whenever I used to get like takeaway before, like after a night out or something. If I ate Domino's, I felt awful. During the lockdown, at work, where I work at a hospital, we got treated to quite a few Domino's, and I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. And after a lot of trials, because I'm a vegetarian and I used to really like sort of like cheeseburger flavored stuff, I found the perfect vegetarian Domino's pizza. So you need your cheese base. You just got your cheese base. There's something called Domino's herbs. You get that on there with mushrooms, with gherkins, and then with burger sauce. That will taste like a cheeseburger on a pizza.
Oh, wow.
There we go. You can all enjoy that for free.
Write that down.
Good Domino's pizza life hack. Excellent.
I do like a gherkin. I'd be happy to try gherkins.
Yeah, I love it. And that will taste like a cheeseburger on a pizza for you. So
there you go.
I love that.
Enjoy.
I've not heard of that before.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, just in honour of Jem would probably be horrified.
Yeah, the gherkins.
Like we're missing out on the good faces just now that Jem normally does in this pizza section.
Them faces, yeah, it's honestly our favourite thing. I think she nearly threw up a few times. What was the worst one she didn't like, apart from pineapple, which is obviously like we said. I'm trying to think. Artichokes. Was it artichokes?
Oh, she was pretty upset about artichokes. Yeah. So yeah, shall we do our next thing?
Oh yes, hold on a sec. I'll get my
I'm going to be so bad at this. I am not by a girl.
Don't worry, you're okay.
Does Lauren know about the challenge or not?
I do know about it, and yeah, I'm not a quick fire girl, but I'll give it a bloody good go. Who's in the lead?
Everybody send loads of love to Lauren in the comments.
So we have a makeshift leaderboard today because Jem normally has big leaderboard, but Kieran actually smashed it out for Park last week with 30.
I mean, it was crazy.
Quite a commanding lead. But we do also have Jennifer up there, who's in the comments on 22. Camilla did 19. Shelley did 17. We've had some really good scores. Okay. But the score to beat at the bottom is 5.
We've mentioned quite a lot as well, haven't we? Past and present. So I might have a few in the old locked and loaded in there, and I can think about the others. And this year counts. I can mention this year.
Yeah, you can do this year.
And don't say surnames. If you say surnames, it will slow you down. So.
Oh, you want authors? You don't want?
No, don't say. No, you don't have to say that. You don't have to just say name the book. You don't have to name the author.
So just the book title is fine. Any year for the entire time the Women's Prize has been running. As many books as you can in 30 seconds is the rule.
Give you a countdown.
Charlie's got the timer. I'm on writing it down, but I'm quite bad at this, so I probably will have to check your score on the plods. So, are you feeling ready for that challenge, Lauren?
I'm feeling ready for the challenge.
Good.
We're willing you on.
So, we're going to give you a countdown.
Yeah.
And Charlie's got the timer, so ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Unsettled Ground, Milkman, American Marriage, Marriage Portrait, I'm a Fan, Glorious Heresies, Portable Veblen, Dog of the North, that was the same one. Cersei, Milkman, did I say Milkman? Margaret Atwood ones. Mad Adam, I think maybe. Blind Assassin, Detransition Baby, Piranesi, My Sister the Serial Killer. If we could do some of this year's. Oh, that was so quick! 15!
That goes quickly.
You did really well.
I do not know your score, but you did do well. And I think it's going to be around maybe 14 or 15. I'm not sure.
I was counting as I went, and I
lost
thought
count.
15. Maybe I was thinking about 15.
I think you might have got 15.
Oh, okay.
Although we did have Milkman twice.
Oh,
so that might have been.
I like that book. I don't know why I mentioned it so much, but yeah.
I can't remember why we were mentioning it actually. Oh, we thought it might have won 2 things at once, didn't we? Yeah. So well done. Good score.
How on earth? 30.
Honestly,
incredible.
There was one point me and Alice. Alice is amazing because she's always brilliant at writing it down. But there's one point we think he said it. Kieran, if you're watching, he said it. He said 2 books in 1 second. Did you say that, Alice?
There was definitely times when he was saying 2 books in a second. Yeah.
In a second.
That's incredible.
It took me so long to separate out what books had been said and to realise that he'd got 30.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we had to rewatch it, and I slowed the next day, and I slowed it down to 0.25 just to double check everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was never going to be beaten. 15. I'll take 15. I'll take 15.
I think Kieran had been doing his research beforehand on all the one-word answers.
I was trying to go into sort of like my mind palace of having seen the pictures of the 6 covers before and linking them. That's why I was ending up with like Piranesi along with this one. Stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's so interesting watching over time how different people have done it and what your different mind palaces are like. Because I can remember Charlie Heathcote way back, one of our first people to try it, was sort of had a like chain of authors type thing, didn't he? He was like, did all the Hilary Mantels.
Oh my God, I've mentioned her tonight as well.
Yeah.
But it's just so interesting to see how people's different systems work. Love it. So well done, Lauren.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks. Thanks for joining in.
We think you did amazing. That's really good. Definitely held your own.
Definitely shout out to Sarah as well, who we absolutely tortured by not telling her she was doing that before the first row. So
I know, we felt so bad. I felt so bad.
And sprung that on Sarah. And there's Sarah in the comments saying she really liked Homesick. Interesting, we've had opposite reactions.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm a fan.
We can't like all the same things all the same time, though. Wouldn't it be boring?
It would be boring, definitely. There's quite a lot of people intrigued by the Benedict Cumberbatch book.
Yeah, I saw some of the front covers really good, so I'm just going to look at the front cover.
I'm going to have to rewrite that down. I'm going to have to... You have to...
And Jack is intrigued by it. And Dorota said that the author's online behaviour killed Memphis for her.
Yeah, I mentioned that, and I will look into that, Dorota, because that is, I had no idea. So I'm always pleased is the wrong word, but like appreciative when people mention that there are problems with authors and things they said. So I will look into that. I thank you. The front cover of this book is not about Benedict Cumberbatch. It's fantastic.
Oh, you have to show us.
It's like Benedict Cumberbatch on a little pin. The joy of loving something, anything, like your life depends on it. It's a very good front cover.
I'm definitely looking this up after that.
Oh, you won't be able to see that. Oh, I can't even bloody... I was thinking I was on the phone.
It's not going to work.
Never mind. We can look that up.
Look it up.
Yeah. So Charlie is coming in with the Women's Prize knowledge. Milkman didn't win the Women's Prize. It was the year that An American Marriage by Tayari Jones won.
Oh, yes.
And he's also got the knowledge for us that Hamnet beat Girl, Women, Other for the Women's
Prize. Everything I said earlier was shit.
Oh dear.
It's been a long day.
Well, I expect there have been some winners, so tell us in the comments.
I say it with such confidence, you just believe me, don't you? So I'm glad we've got an fact checker.
You would have got away with it if Charlie wasn't here.
The fact checking is helpful.
So Ben agrees with you about Fire Rush. Wasn't bowled over, but respected what he was trying to do. Very lyrical and brings the dub scene to life really impressively. That's what I thought was interesting about it, because I had never read anything about that at all. So for me, I found that quite interesting. The Bristol geography confused him though, but he guesses he doesn't live there in the 70s. I believe Ben is living in Bristol now rather than in the 70s. Annika's just finished Trespasses for a book club she's part of and agrees it was boring. Yes. No, I honestly don't mind how people feel about it. Didn't feel like I was cheering Kushla on. I think I would have DNF'd it if it had not been a book club pick. Yeah, I didn't feel. I don't think I even felt strongly enough to DNF. I was like, I kind of want to know what's going to happen at the end. But then when the stuff that did happen at the end happened, I was like, okay, that's finished now. Bye, Kushla.
Yeah.
I partially enjoyed reading about you. But
lies.
Not lies. She was okay. It was a fine book. It just didn't blow me away or anything. So Jennifer's saying hi to Harry. Get in the comments, Harry.
We haven't got Jem here saying about duck, so otherwise his ears would be picking up.
No, true. Jack really enjoyed Unsettled Ground and saw a nuclear floating Waterstones the other week and want it. Yeah, I'm very interested in that book.
We're all jealous that you've got it.
This is the one that I've got to get back to the library in 2 weeks, so it needs reading.
Oh yeah.
Is it like about a pandemic or something as well, or?
Yeah, do you want me to read you the blurb, because it sounds
go for it.
bloody good.
Definitely.
Tell us the blurb.
Neffy is a young woman running away from grief and guilt and the one big mistake that has derailed her career. When she answers the call to volunteer in a controlled vaccine trial, it offers her a way to pay off her many debts and perhaps to make up for the past. But when the London streets below her window fall silent and all external communications cease, only Neffy and 4 other volunteers remain in the unit. With food running out and a growing sense that the stranger she is with may be holding back secrets, Neffy has questions that no one can answer. Does safety lie inside or beyond the unit, and who or what is out there? While she weighs up her choices, this is a long blurb, isn't it? While she weighs up her choices, she is introduced to a pioneering and controversial technology which allows her to revisit memories from her life before, a childhood divided between her enigmatic mother and her father in his small hotel in Greece. Intoxicated by the freedom of the past and the chance to reunite with those she loves, she increasingly turns away from her perilous present. But in this new world, where survival rests on the bond between strangers, is she jeopardising any chance of a future?
That sounds brilliant.
Yeah, and there's loads of stuff in here about an octopus as well. I heard her on a podcast recently. There's loads of stuff in here about an octopus, and yeah, it sounds a bit like which I didn't realise when I read Unsettled Ground that she'd actually written this book. But Our Endless Numbered Days, did anyone read that? About a daughter and her father moved to the woods and go completely off grid. And this sounds a lot more like that than it does Unsettled Ground. But yeah, I loved it.
So like more developed sort of, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this sounds like there's a lot of plot in there, isn't there?
Yeah. I accidentally researched that one when we were predicting the Women's Prize, and then realised it wasn't out till May or whenever, so it wasn't part of it. And I've wanted to read it so much.
Surely, so I'll get it.
Yeah. Predicting it now. You've heard it here first, people. Lauren's predicted it now.
And Sarah says it's the first week with no pizza controversy. Because we haven't got Jem. I'm sure Jem would have got upset about something.
No, she would have. I don't know how she would have felt about the gherkins.
Oh yeah, the gherkins might have set her off.
You might have got an eye roll for your gherkins, but I think that sounds like a good pizza.
Thanks.
We've got lots of love in the chat for Unsettled Ground. I'm definitely going to have to read that.
Yeah, very good.
It is a really good book.
Do you think we should go for a plod, ladies?
Good idea.
I would love to.
And read that lovely book. I want to read it with you now. I wish I had it.
When I picked it up today, I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to read tonight.
Excellent. What are you going to be reading, Charlie?
I'm going to be reading, it's a non-fiction. I've got The Definitive Guide to the Perimenopause and the Menopause, and it's a new book by a specialist. She's a UK specialist on the menopause. I hate him!
Oh, you're so
you made it!
made it. It took all my restraint to get a glass and not just a straw in the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. You're all right after your mini disaster or maxi disaster.
Good. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. I'm totally fangirling right now. Lauren's here.
We've literally, someone's just spoken too soon and said that this has been the first week without any pizza controversy. And I just said, well, speaking for Gemma, I think that probably there would have been one if you were here.
Oh, what was
It's
it?
Not because it's Lauren's main pizza, because Lauren did like a margarita.
That's acceptable.
But Lauren did give us a lovely life hack about a vegetarian cheeseburger pizza. And we're wondering how you would feel about one of the items on it.
You have to tell us again.
Oh, no. No.
You hate gherkins, don't you? So discovering them on a pizza might be a bit upsetting for someone who's not up for gherkins.
Oh, wait, we have got a couple of good
upsetting. And the worst thing is, my whole family love gherkins. The boys will eat them like out of the jar, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. If you don't like them, they're pretty rank to see, aren't they? So I understand, but I will just say it is a good pizza.
So just as Gemma's arrived, we have to give her the pizza comments. We were about to go to applaud, but we're going to give you the pizza comments. So
sorry, I've ruined it.
Somebody would eat fig and Cat Dancers Kaleidoscope of Books and Stuff, which is a channel name we love, would eat fig and goat's cheese on a pizza. I want to try it now, I really do. And
look at Gem's eye roll.
Jack wants gherkins on a pizza. Yes. And Kit says, and this is accurate, Gem judges everyone's choices, but then says she likes anchovies.
Yeah, the anchovies are delicious. They're like little salty goodness. Yeah.
And Natasha's bigging up David's pizzas as well that we get to see on Cozy Reading Nights.
It does make great pizzas, but we've had to throw all of our pizza flour out because I don't know if you saw, but I had a little mouse visitor in my house.
Oh no, I did see, yeah.
Mouse, away for all that pizza flour, so we had to chuck it all out.
We managed to sort the mouse problem.
We got rid. We caught him in the humane trap after literal weeks of doing it, and that morning I'd thought, I think I'm going to have to get an inhumane trap. I think this has gone on so, like, how am I ever going to catch him? Like, I don't know how I'm ever going to catch him. This has been going on so long. And he must have heard my internal monologue because he thought, well, I'm not going, I'll go in the humane one. And then by the afternoon, he was in there waiting. And we drove him down the road and let him out down the path. So we haven't seen him since.
All had a happy end.
Did you have a cat, Lauren? I thought you had a cat.
He couldn't give a shit. She's useless. He's useless. And when I asked people for tips, everyone was like, get a cat. Or is Minnie interested? And
you were like, I have one. She's here.
One. Rubbish. And
she's ignoring the mouse.
When we had a mouse before, David and I woke up in the night and she was just sat looking at it while it was like walking around the floor.
That's really cute. Not for you, but
they were friends.
Oh, bless.
Oh. So yeah, I think that's the end of the pizza comments though. So
yes. I appreciate it. Did we have a score?
Oh yeah.
We don't quite have the score yet.
Oh yeah, good. That's what we're going to do on the plot.
We think Lauren's done about 15. So
not my best work, but I'm not a quick girl.
That's good.
Nice. That's
score, but I'm going to check
effort.
it.
Solid midfield effort.
Like that.
I will check it out when we go on our plod. Have you got something to read tonight, Gem, or are you just going to be recovering?
Just lying here like an hour. I'm going to read the nice, happy Memphis for a bit of light-hearted reading. So yes, I have read literally like 3 pages since we last plodded. So my women's prose reading is not going well. But yes, that's what I'm reading.
What are you reading, Alice?
I've got so many choices here, but I'm going to read my chapters of Phantom Tollbooth because Gem and I are reading this at the moment.
I haven't read my chapters of that yet.
I might ditch it off and read Becky Chambers then. just because this is what I really, really want to read at the moment.
Oh, I love that
Becky
book.
Jane.
I haven't read it yet, and I'm loving it. And I should read my
Oh,
Thomas Hardy as well, but I just want to read this.
You have got some books on the go at the moment. How many books
I've
on the
got
go?
quite a lot of books on the go. Far too many books on the go.
They both do. They both read like a million books at once,
I
and I'm
read
always
a
like,
few a go, but not. I don't think I could manage any more than. Oh, actually, saying that, I think I've got 4 on the go. So 4 might be my limit. But I just commit to all these things and then think.
Yeah, but this is exactly what we do, isn't it? We commit to everything.
We do it for the love of books, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
A book for every mood.
yeah. So let's see if we can get the timer up for the plod. I think I've clicked it, but
Are you muting us? Because I am going to want to eat these biscuits.
Priorities.
you can mute yourself if you like, Lauren.
I might
That's
mute
normally
myself
what we
while
do.
because I do like hearing other people reading and turning pages and stuff, but no one wants to hear me eat 2 biscuits.
We do normally mute ourselves, so you're all right. You can eat away. Yeah, so we'll have a 20-minute read. Let us know in the chat what you're going to be reading and so on, and we'll see you in 20 minutes. Have a lovely time, everyone.
You going on?
Yeah. Let's start. Hello.
Hello.
I'll find my bookmark.
Just fold the page over, mate.
Yeah. No, it's a library book. I can't because it's a library book. And they would tell me off. I help put out there. They would tell me off.
How did everyone get on?
Very close to the actual pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She wrote it before as well, so I don't know if she made edits afterwards, but yeah, she's in the unit. She's had the vaccine put in her, and they're about to insert her with the actual virus. But yeah, they're talking about closing and all this sort of thing. So yeah, it's very, very close, but very good.
Oh, that's good.
Very
Imagine
good.
if you'd written that and then stuff like that was actually happening.
When we were actually in the pandemic, I read the one that Emma Donoghue wrote, something in our star. What was it called? The
Full of the Stars.
Full of the Stars, yeah. And that was about the Spanish flu. She'd written that before the lockdown, but there was so much stuff in there that was about like the sort of posters and stuff they had up, like catch a sneeze. There was lots in there about catching sneezes.
Yeah.
It was so relevant, and I was like,
right.
as I was reading it, thinking, oh god. So still quite some people still aren't ready to read pandemic novels, and this one is definitely a pandemic novel. So yeah, if you're not feeling ready, I'm not sure you would be ready for this.
Is that released now, or is that an arc?
No, it's out now. Like really recently. It just says 2023, so it's just come through in the library.
Yeah, I think it might have been April came out, or end of April. Yeah. Because it wasn't eligible for this prize, but I did do a lot of research on it before I realised that. Definitely looking forward to reading that. How did you get on, Jem, with Memphis?
Yeah, a bit more trauma, a bit more abuse. Have you read this one, Lauren?
Yeah, it was one of the first ones I read because I had a proof of it. Actually, my proof said that it was coming out in March 2022, so I was surprised when it was longlisted. I think maybe the date got pushed back a bit. I think that happened a lot following the pandemic. I did enjoy it. I will say, like, there is a lot of heavy stuff in there, but I did enjoy the sort of warmth of it throughout from the three characters and their relationship. So as a picture, I think when you're reading it individually, you feel very much like, oh God, more sexual assault, more abuse, more of this. But once you finished it, the bigger picture is that of sort of like family, I think. That's how I felt afterwards. You just got to get through it and then it will feel lovely.
I do really like the female characters in it. And I've literally just finished The Colour Purple, and it reminds me quite a lot of that book. Right,
yeah. Like intergenerational type thing.
Yeah, and just like Black female power and... Yeah. So, yes.
Good. What about your book, Charlie? Before you drink some tea?
Like, I don't think there's enough taught to us women, particularly, about the perimenopause and the menopause, and so I kind of want to know more about it. And this is a very current one. I've read Cracking the Menopause by Mariella Frostrup, and I can't remember the name of the other author, but there's another co-author with it. That was really good. So I just wanted to check this out. So yeah, it's just to educate myself.
I'm sure I heard that the author of that being interviewed on Women's Hour. I'm sure recently them talking about it.
It's just important, isn't it?
Absolutely. In the same way that like there seems to be an influx of books about periods and stuff, whereas I'd say 20 years ago, but honestly 10 years ago, you'd be hard pressed to find any books about periods. So I think this is vital.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I checked up on Lauren's score, and you did definitely get 14.
14.
Repeat milkman.
Fair enough.
So very, very good. And I know
Jem can show us where you placed then on the board.
I don't think we can catch up on all the comments, but Jennifer did say, are we going to see the hosts do this challenge eventually? I thought I'd better just put up that comment to say I'm being honest and showing that comment.
Maybe we'll do it on the final one. So on the day of the final.
Yeah.
winner announcement?
We should
Possibly.
really. Oh, look at the. You can't see that very well.
Zoom it.
But you've got Lauren here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th position, Lauren.
I'll take 5th. I will take
Yeah.
5th.
That's
That
very
is really
strong.
good. And I luckily still had a gap here, so I didn't have to rewrite it all.
I
So I
spotted it
appreciate
perfectly.
that. Thank you.
Fabulous.
It's like you knew.
It was
Like
like
it, Gem.
you.
And another one of the comments about the challenge was, as soon as you start trying to list things, the mind empties.
I think my mind's already empty.
So we got, oh, this is an interesting one because Kelly, I don't think we've said hi to Kelly yet today. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Actually finished pod and didn't hate it. Hooray. On to trespassers, I
Wow.
guess. Still rooting for Demon. Yay.
Demon.
Got a little
Oh, and Jack agrees with Jennifer that the hosts need to do the challenge. Thanks, Jack, for your support there.
It wasn't in the original planning meeting.
You mean the planning where Charlie was like, we can't inflict that torture on our guests?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
we were
like,
let's
no,
do
we
it.
can't do this to people.
Probably by the end, you'll just know all the answers. So you'll all get exactly the same score, and it will be 100, and it'll be lovely.
I'll
In
get like
theory.
2.
Yeah.
I'll get like 2.
You say that, but earlier I was trying to just remember the names of the 6 books that were shortlisted last year. Could I get more than 5? No.
I know them, but my brain will
I
freeze.
can't remember the 6th one at all. Had to look it up.
Which one had you forgotten?
No, I'd forgotten The Sentence by Louise Erdrich.
Oh, yeah.
That is a bit forgettable as well. So
It was quite forgettable.
So Kit is picking up The Memory of Animals from the library soon, but is so scared of octopuses, so a bit wary of that.
yeah, 24 pages in, we've been talking about octopuses already, and so it's that. Yeah,
So-
yeah. There's a lot of
Content warnings for octopuses then.
Yeah. And Ben's interested to know what you think of The Memory of Animals. It got absolutely savaged in The Guardian.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
But what do they know?
24 pages in, and I'm invested. So, yeah.
So
Maybe we should just like hold off and see what you think, Lauren, and then we'll be like, we'll try it after.
Jack's off. Ben's excited to see you're on the wine, Gem.
Yeah.
I think
Just
you probably
excited to have you
deserve the
here.
wine.
That's what I'm just excited that you're here.
Oh, I know. Did you say why I wasn't here?
We politely didn't mention it. We just said you'd hopefully be along soon. So did you want to tell us?
Oh,
up to
yeah.
you.
So I had a leak in the ensuite, and it dripped through, and like some of the ceiling came out downstairs. And then Carl had to like saw like a bit of the ceiling off so that he could see where the leak was coming from. And
Oh no.
it's just there was ceiling everywhere. It's amazing. It was quite a large bit of ceiling, like A4 size, but how far it can go, like these bits of like plaster, it was everywhere, like all up the stairs, all up the banister.
Oh no.
The dog's like running through it. It's like, oh my god.
And you've got little Charlie that's still poorly. Charlie's still poorly.
He's got the pox.
No.
There's a pox on my house. So yeah,
I was thinking when you messaged us, I should have said, I hope nobody got harmed by this ceiling coming down. But
it
I
wasn't
figured
that
you would have
bad.
said to us if that
It
was
wasn't
one of the
that
things that had happened.
Yeah, so it's all a drama, and yeah.
I can't believe you managed to make it. We're so happy you're here.
Oh, thanks.
Yay.
Thanks.
Yeah, there's lots of comments of hi Gem and some you deserve all the wine.
Thanks.
Um,
I'll drink it all.
Jennifer said hi, and Charlie said now the gang's all here.
Yay.
And Gemma, you and Charlie finally agree on something. It's you had a distasteful
No way.
games.
That is. I'm a little bit disturbed by that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, we were very sad to miss out on your facial expressions during the pizza question. Although Lauren had very little controversial to say. So Sarah said great about the menopause book, Charlie. Louise Newson is so helpful. Menopause and perimenopause are very important topics. So Jack is off. Just trying to get through a few comments because we've got quite a few. So I think this is related to the mouse conversation.
Yeah.
Charlie walked in on her Labrador lay in front of his dish, watching a mouse sat in the middle eating his dog food.
Our mouse had been eating Minnie's biscuits as well, so I wondered if she'd been sort of like helping him ship him into the cupboard or something.
Would it make her sick? Can the mouse have made her sick at all? Because
we were clearing stuff out as we were going, but like as in like if I saw that the mouse had taken a biscuit, I mean I can't be sure there's that, but I did see a mouse go in there and take a biscuit, so I had to. Just piss and shit wherever they go. This is rank. Yeah. We had a massive pot of bird seed under David's desk. Huge it was. Loads of like delicious nuts in there, seeds and nuts and hazelnuts. The smallest hole, like honestly, about as big as a pen lid, like the tiniest hole in the top of that. And the mouse had managed to be getting in and out of that tiny little hole, getting the hazelnuts, not interested in anything else, taking them into a drawer in my desk, shelling the hazelnuts, then just shitting them all out again. So shitting where he was eating. No. And then, so when I found it all, I was like, what is that? And it was just hazelnut shells and mouse poo. And he'd just been in and out of there, absolutely living the high life.
Oh,
been very selective. I love that he was selective.
I don't know. I can't believe he was getting those hazelnuts through that tiny little hole. Like,
yeah.
Let alone himself. Like, because I have heard that mice can go down quite small. I've heard, like, they can go through the size of your finger or whatever. But those hazelnuts, he must have been like Gus in Cinderella.
Crazy. So I think our comments are now all what people have been reading. So if you are in the comments, let us know how you got on with it, because we didn't hear what you were reading originally. A bit behind. But Annika was reading Fun Home for Lauren's Patreon book club.
Oh, I have that on my shelf. Have you read it yet, Lauren?
No, it's a graphic novel, isn't it? And I always try and read them towards the end of the month so that they're very fresh. This I might even be reading the day of the book club, so it's really fresh because it's through them. But
I've heard good things about that one. And Ariane was starting The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri for one of her book clubs.
I have that on my shelf as well.
Gem has literally all the books. If there's honestly, you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, there was usually I have that on my Kindle, not I have that on my shelf.
I know. I do physically own both of those other ones.
Impressive.
I know.
Glenda's reading. Hi, Glenda. I don't think we've said hi to Glenda yet.
Yeah, hi, Glenda.
We love Glenda.
Glenda's reading Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil for a BFF trip to Savannah, Georgia, USA.
Oh, nice.
Not heard of that.
Ben's reading some Demon. Yay.
Yes, Demon.
And Kit is reading
Marmee.
I've got that out from the library at the moment.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to it.
I loved it. I read
it looks like a really good one. Imogen just has Fire Rush and Glory left of the long list, so we'll start one of those today. Let us know which one you start with. And Kate is reading Bandit Queens. Yay! How are you getting on, Kate? That one.
That was so robbed. How did they put Pod through and Bandit Queens didn't make it? Sorry, you might have already had this discussion.
We haven't actually. We haven't actually mentioned Bandit Queens yet.
I loved Bandit Queens.
You did. What were your thoughts on Bandit Queens, Lauren? Were you surprised to see it miss out, or?
I loved the first 50 pages and the last 50 pages, but the rest of it, I found it a bit yawny. Yeah. When I started reading it, I was like, this is going to be 5 stars. And then got a bit lost in the middle. And then towards the end, when it all picked up again, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what I was loving about the first 50 pages. So, yeah, it was a 3 parts for me. But, yeah, another one. I mean, surprised that sort of didn't make it, and Pod and maybe Fine did. So, yeah, it's a surprise for me.
The backstory behind the Bandit Queens is really, really interesting with Pool and Debbie. I think that's just such an interesting story. The inspiration behind the book. So
yeah, I think it's quite cinematic, and I can imagine it eventually making its way there. But yeah, it just felt a bit long in the middle, and it's not a long book. So when that happens, I always feel a bit.
Yeah.
So Dorota is finishing Wandering Souls, another one a lot of people were surprised not to see.
Yeah, I hoped it would be there, but I hoped and thought it won't make it. But I think it's really interesting to hear a sort of immigrant experience, particularly an Asian immigrant experience that then ended up in the UK. It's not one that I've read much of. But I just found it, oh God, just parts of it was so sad. And in the same way of I'm a Fan felt really current, there was parts of that felt really, really current too, like the headline parts and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I was hoping it would be on there, but I wasn't expecting it to be on there.
No. Fair enough. I never know how to pronounce this name.
Don't worry.
Yeah, finishing pod. And that was me trying to stare at my screen and get closer to it, by the way. Sarah is going to reserve the Claire Fuller. Yeah. Just reading The Vanishing Acts of Esme Lennox by Maggie O'Farrell.
Yeah,
and I think it's very good so far. I read this one ages ago, but and have no memory of it whatsoever. But I do really like Maggie O'Farrell.
Is it the Edinburgh one, or is that After You've Gone?
I think it's in Scotland somewhere. Does she go off to one of the islands?
Station. They turn up at a train station. Is it? She's on her knees looking for it.
Well, the train station one might be. I can't remember now. Someone tell us in the comments what book are we talking about.
They'll know.
I don't think After You'd Gone is Train Station. That was her first one. I love that book, but I can't remember.
I've got The Hand That First Held Mine downstairs to read.
After You've Gone. Oh, After You've Gone was the one I was thinking of. That was the one I was thinking. That's she gets on a train. Yeah, she gets to see her sister, and then she's in a road accident.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, look, I've not heard of that one.
That was her debut. It's really, really good.
Yeah,
that might be a good one to head to then.
So that's good that you're enjoying that, Sarah. I don't remember anything about it, as I've said, but I remember liking it when I was reading it. How High We Go in the Dark was written before the pandemic as well, and was a bit odd to read during / after. Are we in the after yet?
I think that was one that people thought was gonna be on the Booker, I think, wasn't it, last year, Gem? Wasn't it?
I think I got my predictions for the Booker, yeah.
It was a Booker.
And it's still sat on my shelf because I haven't got to it yet.
I quite wanted to read that one. That was one you had me intrigued about, I remember. It's funny because I am a really big fan of like that type of fiction and like all the like apocalyptic stuth. Definitely pre-pandemic, I was like 100% loved apocalyptic stuff. But I don't think I've really read one properly. Oh, I did read the one that was on the list last year, Salt Lick, but that wasn't as maybe dystopian as some others.
All the cows.
But I haven't really read any since the pandemic, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it going back into them. So I used to find them really, really comforting because they make me feel better about my own life, which is a really odd thing to say. But, now we have been living in like the apocalypse. Who knows? Will it be comforting? And Zach says there was pandemic stuff in A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, which was my last 5-star book written by a woman. Excellent.
I've had really mixed reviews about that.
Is this the sequel to the one you read, Gem?
Prequel.
What, is this the Prairie of the Orange Tree one?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had really mixed things. I've seen several people DNF it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're back onto the sea life jokes because of the octopus in your book, Lauren.
No.
How did
Sorry, Lauren.
Laugh? Tentacles.
You know what? It could be worse. We've had worse, haven't we? So we're not gonna.
We've had many pod puns, and at least we haven't had any of those today.
I don't think we've seen Kieran up there, have we?
Glenda's bought Heir to Murder, Charlie Heathcote.
Oh.
Good to know.
Yeah, we read that this month.
Sarah wants to know, how is Mama? I want to read that one.
Sarah, I think you will like it. I read it, like I said, and I think you will like it.
I don't know what I've clicked now. Clicked the wrong response, but Kit actually said that they're not very far in, 50 pages in. So far, it's all right. Too early to have a full opinion. And Charlie has been reading Killing Jericho by William Hussey. Or Hussey, I don't know. I thought I was in for Agatha Christie style hijinks. I'm ending up more disturbed than before. Oh dear.
Yeah, Charlie said it's super dark. It's like really, really,
Yes. Hi, Chris. After Memphis and Pod, I need something lightweight and witty. I'm emotionally exhausted by all the physical and emotional abuse. Not surprised.
Don't blame you.
There is a lot of abuse and violence in Pod, isn't there? When you think about it being an under the sea book. It's 4:45 my time. I'm opening a bottle of wine. Good for you, Glenda.
Excellent plan, Glenda. Cheers.
And Shannon Sales is wanting Pod to win.
Screaming.
Because
chuck you off the chat.
Outrageous.
So we've got, after the Plodalong, I had a cappuccino, and Doll finished Pod. I gave it 3.5. Thanks, Zach. You never have enough Pod puns. The Fell by Sarah Moss is a brilliant pandemic book. Loads of stuff
really
has happened.
Yeah, it's great. Again, very close to the mark because it was COVID pandemic, and yeah, it was
one of my lists to read.
I think that's one I'd avoided reading because I felt it might be too close to things that I didn't want to read about at that time. Because I know it's about the woman going out when she's not allowed to go out, isn't it?
Yeah, and then she falls the fell. She falls while she's out walking on a fell, and then it's about everyone that has to get involved in having contact with her because she's been irresponsible. It's very frustrating to read, particularly at the time I read it, because it was sort of like when things were maybe opening up a little bit and things were maybe happening a little bit faster than I was happy with, and like so yeah, but very, very good, but again very, very confronting with sort of like pandemic vibes. So
because you work in a hospital, don't you, Lauren?
Yeah, so yeah, it
must have been even more frustrating for you because you must have seen the
yeah, it was, because not so much I don't have all that much patient contact, but I work with people that do, and I was working with people who were having horrible time with it, and then hearing about and then reading that as well when people were loose with their or trying to make the rules fit them rather than fit to the rules. So yeah, that's a very good book about the pandemic, but again very close to actual pandemic.
Yeah, I think I decided it was going to make me too cross because I was shielding the pandemic, and I was like, I don't think I can read that right now.
Yeah, I read it for one of my online book clubs, and people were very, very cross with her.
So Kate is saying Bandit Queens is great. Having finished Wandering Souls, I think it should have got a spot over Pod.
Yeah,
great.
And Kelly says, how high we go in the dark needed, these are connected short stories written across the front. I was enjoying the storyline about the pig, and when it didn't come back, I hated the book.
I think when books aren't blurbed properly, like that's why I think I had the problem with the boring bread thing, because I thought it was like blurbed correctly. Yeah, I hate that.
I feel like on this Women's Prize list, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but I feel like there's quite a few books where the most interesting thing in the book for me was sometimes happening in the background, and the thing I thought the book was going to be about, the other way around. The thing I thought the book was going to be about was in the background, whereas there was actually something completely different was the main focus in the foreground.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the cinema one's the same though. The cinema one is no, that is kind of what it says on the tin, actually. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it was more, like Cursed Bread. I felt like it was about obsession. But I thought it was going to be about the background story of the poisoning.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I wanted the poisoning.
And like in Trespasses, I felt like the strongest part of it for me was the troubles, but they were happening in the background. Whereas I wasn't that interested in Kushla's foreground story, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I loved Kushla.
I guess like for Kushala, though, like that was happening in the background. Like she was in the throes of what she thought was a really passionate, exciting love affair. So like the that was all about that, and the fact that there was essentially a civil war going on in her life, and she just sort of grown around that, hadn't she? And the exciting thing for her was hoping that sexy man would turn up in the pub that night. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. So Glenda read Odd Billy Todd by N.C. Reid and finished it the day before the lockdown. It's apocalyptic. I actually loved it, but it's not for everyone.
I've not heard of that one.
Me either. And Charlie says, The Fell. I'd forgotten about that book. Shannon is still confused about the two versions of Homesick. I have a copy where it's a memoir with pictures and the other copy is a novel. Bizarre. I've never managed to get my head around this issue.
No, I've also heard this and it's confusing because if it's a memoir, how is it qualified is my confusion.
Yeah.
And the memoir was, look, she translated it, didn't she? Because it was originally written in, was it Italian or Spanish?
She wrote it in Spanish.
She translated it into a memoir for the US and then rewrote it as a novel.
Because it has to be first published in the English language as well. So how on earth has this made it?
Do you know what I mean? I just think there's so many amazing books by women. Why would they pick one that's possibly a translated non-fiction?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Strange. I would like to, it'd be so interesting to chat about, like, how did you choose these things, wouldn't it? And find out what was going on there. So Chris says, why are the covers for the UK and US always so different? One of them is always beautiful and the other an absolute mess.
They're all so wildly different, aren't they? I'm always really surprised at how.
We've been having conversations about the, the Demon Copperhead.
Yeah, I was watching you talking about it last night, but you actually, Alice, reading the Becky Chambers. You want to have a look at the US cover of that? It's shit. It's
US.
It is all
US cover.
Yeah,
did I see it when I looked it up on?
It's brown.
I might have done.
It looks like it's come out of the 80s, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I am looking that up.
Yeah.
Really awful.
The UK covers are beautiful. The series, they're so beautifully done.
Yeah, because I don't think we're really that different, like market demographic wise, for book covers. Surely from Americans.
No, I don't know.
So different though, aren't they? Like the Demon Copperhead cover. I know we've talked about the paperbacks, but even the hardbacks. Like we had like this beautiful blue. I was looking to see if I've got it, but it's upstairs. Like our beautiful blue cover, and the US had theirs. Sort of looks like oldie worldy paper, doesn't it? Sort of thing. Zach's saying at least Pod was trying to say something. It wasn't a pizza cover book, all edge and no point. Right, okay.
Which one was all edge and no point?
I don't know.
It definitely was trying to say something. It was definitely trying to say something.
Definitely. I like this. Obviously a book with a big message. But there was quite a lot of other stuff in there as well that I didn't particularly enjoy.
Is it the sexy clams? The sexy clams.
Charlie, you are trying to repress the sexy clams.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I wasn't trying to. Sorry.
Every week you bring back this trauma to us that we.
You didn't have to experience the clam orgy, Charlie.
I didn't know. I didn't read this.
It's very traumatic.
our chat that week on our WhatsApp was very, very interesting, wasn't it, Gem?
Yeah.
Like every day we were like, I feel like if anyone looked at this, they would think we've gone crazy.
I feel like we
our
would have
buddy reader pod.
people had read those messages without any context.
Yeah, they were pretty crazy. So Trespassers was the most requested book for April at my library system here in the US.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I had to take mine back to the library today because it was in demand. And Glenda likes the UK versions better.
There are some good US ones in different. I'm sure there are some good.
Sometimes the US does better. Not often.
On top of it being a possibly translated non-fiction, Homesick isn't even especially good compared to other books that could have qualified. I can't judge that. I haven't actually read it yet.
I haven't read it yet either.
It's just meh. That's all. It's just meh.
So Glenda's saying Americans rush to publish and market.
I think the lovely. I think. Oh my God! Katie Lumsden's done a whole video on how they do the differences, didn't she?
Really?
The US and the UK covers and how they do it.
Yeah, I was nearly going to say her two covers are really, really different, aren't they? Like the red one with the woman silhouette for the US, and ours is like the lovely, lovely like wallpaper. And I
actually think I prefer the red cover.
Do you? I really like the UK cover. I think.
Yeah,
I do like them both, but if both on a shelf, I would probably pick the red one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Lauren, I feel like we haven't asked you anything for ages because we've been going through the comments.
I should have nipped to the loo while you were doing that, but I'm going to nip to the loo now.
That's why you can go.
Go ahead.
No, don't worry, it's okay. You go.
So yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say.
You can just get through some more comments, maybe.
I don't think I might have 2 more comments now. Actually,
Heather's here.
Oh, hey, Heather.
We love Heather.
No,
Alice can't work IT again.
It's a very good job I don't work in IT because I just.
You've done amazing, Alice. Honestly, Alice, you've done amazing.
I can't seem to work the computer, but yes, we have got the lovely Heather in. Just joining. Hi, ladies. Hi, Heather. Yeah.
Heather's going to be joining us at some point as well, isn't she?
She is, yes. I can't remember when.
Jennifer says, Jennifer says Katie's video about book covers was fascinating.
I loved it. I properly loved it. So interesting.
I don't think I think I saw it pop up, but I never got to it.
Definitely go back and find it because it's really good.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah,
for sure. I've loved some of Katie's
She knows so much
videos.
because she's worked in the industry for so long, so she's the font of all knowledge in that stuff.
Thought the publication day vlog that was like the whole 3-year journey of the publication, I thought was so fascinating. Yeah. So yeah, there has been some very fascinating stuff around Katie's publication, definitely.
I'm very excited to read it.
Yes.
I don't know whether to save it for the autumn because I feel like I want to read it now, but then I feel like it sounds
I feel the same about like sort of historical fiction and that sort of thing. It screams autumn at me, so I do know how you feel. Yeah.
Having read it, I would say it would be a really good book for autumn.
Yeah,
it would. But I would also say read it whenever you like. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say next up, like, I think we've actually covered that you've read most of the books, Lauren, so you're wanting to get to Black Butterflies next of the.
Yeah, Black Butterflies is probably the only one I will now read. I shan't go to Glory, and I can't see myself bothering with Children of Paradise. So yeah, we're just all about. Oh, almost wobbled you then. Black Butterflies, but like I said, because now the actual winner isn't until what date is it in June? The
14th.
14th, I think.
So I could even pick this up in June. So I will read this probably the end of May, beginning of June. But looking forward to it and hoping it's a good one to end on. I don't want it to be.
I mean, I don't think it wasn't like my favourite, but it was good. I think it's. I don't know.
I think it will be hard for a book to topple I'm a Fan and The Marriage Portrait now. how much I enjoyed those.
I don't think it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be that in that territory for you. But
No.
Harry, do you mind?
Is that
you
Harry?
really want this food?
Sounds like he's on a hamster
Getting
wheel.
upset.
Harry, is it duck o'clock?
Yeah, he missed you calling him in with your duck talk earlier. He wasn't here for a while.
Harry, duck. Get the duck.
Yeah, he's already long past his duck time and he's very upset.
Is he?
Which was the one when he was like clawing at your face? Was that on one of the ones we've done live, or was that one of the private chats we've done? I can't remember.
Hopefully that was a private chat, but he does like to talk about it.
Because there's one time he was like going,
Yeah, he was brushing your hair.
Yeah, I think that was
a private chat.
luckily privately. But while if anyone watches the actual bit where we were reading back afterwards, you can see if you can spot the bit where Harry decides to hit me every time I try and look at the comments. He was obviously like, "You must read. You're supposed to be reading." So Kelly's asking, is it Katie Weaver that has that video? No, it's Katie at Books and Things. So you want the channel Books and Things, Katie Lumsden.
It's on her channel. I
sure. And Jennifer has said that, yeah, Casey Lumsden from Books and Things. And Heather says, can't wait to be there. My copy of Best Prize should arrive any day. The last one of the shortlist for me to read. It is for me as well. Gem, have you got plans for what you're going to read next after Memphis? Because I've got Memphis Homesick Sick. Yeah.
So many still to read. So I do also have Black Butterflies out from the library, and I think it has to be back quite soon. So I really need to crack on with it. But I think I'm going to do Wandering Souls on audio on Friday. So I've got like 6 hours in the car on Friday, so I can bash the whole thing out in one day.
Where are you driving to Friday? Or you don't have to say.
Hampshire. But the M25 is an asshole.
Yeah. I was on it on Friday.
So yeah, I'm thinking it's getting very late at night here. We're at 10 p.m. So Lauren, I wanted to ask you one more question, unless anyone else has got other questions. Is that, and I think we probably know the answer, but what would you like to win and what do you think will win?
I would like Marriage Portrait to win. No, would I like Marriage Portrait to win? She's already had a win. She's already had a win. It was my favourite, but I think Demon Copperhead will win. But she's already had a win and all, isn't she?
Yeah, she has.
So give it to somebody else. But yeah, I think I'd like Marriage Portrait just because I feel like it's hard, is it? Because I think, I'd like more people to read Marriage Portrait, but it's Maggie O'Farrell. People are going to read it. If they want to read it, they'll read it. You wait till that paperback's out. You're not going to be able to move for that paperback being out. Yeah, I'll go Marriage Portrait, but I think Demon Copperhead will win. I'm very certain Demon Copperhead will win.
Yes.
Excellent.
Did you not like Demon Copperhead?
I didn't love it. I thought it was it's a bit long for me, and I didn't really. It felt a bit misery, a bit like I was talking to Jen about this when I saw her last weekend, Jen Campbell, and she was saying, it felt a little bit like A Little Life. Well, I haven't read that either. But
no, I haven't read that.
I've read that, but like that, the relentless sort of misery of like how many bad things can happen to this one person. I was a bit like, this poor bloody, give him a break.
I liked it.
But I still think it will win. I think like on a sort of individual, like sort of paragraph by paragraph basis. Like, prize winning, isn't it?
It is prize winning. Clearly, it hasn't won the policy.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on our plod along, Lauren. We've loved having you.
I've had a lovely time. Isn't it nice just to sit and chat books all night with people?
It's been lovely.
Yeah, it's really nice. Thank you so much. It's been and you put so much effort into all of these shows. Like I love the banners and everything. Like it's lovely. And the little community that's going on. It's gorgeous. You're all lovely.
Oh, thank you.
You must be really thrilled. You should be really proud of yourselves. It's a lovely place to be.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been lovely having you on here. And on Sunday, we are starting early on Sunday. So it's 10 a.m. our time, British summertime. It's on my channel again, and we're hoping to have 2 special guests. We've definitely got Charlotte coming to join us, Charlotte Malloy, and we're hoping to also have Nikki from Red Dot Reads. So fingers crossed, we will have 2 guests on Sunday.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting.
Lovely.
And Bali.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for coming tonight and for all your lovely comments and chatting to us and chatting to Lauren. And thank you again, Lauren, for being with us.
It's been lovely. Thanks so much.
Yeah. We'll see you all soon, everybody. Bye.
Bye.